Hey, everybody, welcome back to AGI Schools Out Saturdays, Season 2, Episode 3. I am joined by Nirav Shah. He is a Columbia Masters of Science in Computer Science grad. He did a little teaching at Columbia. He's returned to India and has a startup there where he's a co-founder, Quantal AI. And
Yes.
I wanted to bring Nirav on here today to talk about education and AI in a global sense, and also to just get his experience with working with Columbia students and get his feeling on where people should be placing their educational focus today in this age of intelligence. So, welcome, Nirav. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
No, thank you so much, Jason, for having me on this. Really excited to be on this podcast, and thank you again for having me on this show. Uh, Again, very excited to talk more about how AI is currently shaping you know everyone's lives at the same time. Especially in terms of the education. Perspective as well. And uh, a quick introduction about myself is that I did my undergrad from India, and then I got an opportunity to study at Columbia University. I pursued my master's in computer science from Columbia back in 2007. And I think it was one of the best experiences that I had. The kind of professors that I, kind of studied with, they were actually author of some of my undergrad books when, what I was referring to while I was in India. So I was completely awestruck by the kind of teaching that happened at Columbia. And not just that, but apart from that, the kind of colleagues that I had, the other students who were a part of my batch, they were extremely ambitious, and that kind of inspired me to start something of my own. But at the same time, I wanted a little exposure before starting something, so I was fortunate to get an internship at UBS, which is a Swiss bank on Wall Street, but it's up there in Stamford, Connecticut as well. So I was mainly working from that office. It has one of the world's largest trading floors as well. So it was a great experience, and I was fortunate to get a full-time offer despite of the uh, big meltdown in 2009. Just the housing market bubble, right? And so I was right in the middle of that. So when I had, gotten an internship, I had around 4 offers from various banks and firms. But when I was out of college, I had just one offer because of the crisis. Very happy and fortunate to be having that in that time. And overall, I got an amazing experience. I worked with UBS and their quant trading team, where I did a lot of automation uh, for the traders that I was working with, and built various softwares which was around ETFs and custom default swaps, and built risk management systems over there. And uh, and my key
Can we
intent
pause there for
for
a second? I want to double click on something you just said. All right, because you said you were an undergrad during the housing bubble when it was hard to get a job, and you landed a job with one of the biggest banks trading on Wall Street. That's just similar to what we hear from undergrads today getting out of school, is that they're having trouble finding jobs. So what do you think set you apart?
So I think one of the key things that set me apart was based on what my managers told me, is curiosity in terms of the way things worked, as well as the ability to kind of understand how the business works, and how I can translate it to tech. I think that was one of the key reasons why I was able to retain my job at post internship, and that was, I think, one of the biggest factors that played a lot. And at the same time, I think uh, having a very good rapport with my manager during the internship, I got a lot of recommendations. And at the same time, at Columbia University, I was fortunate to get a few fellowships, scholarships while I was studying there. So all that just helped me build my case better during a very tough time in the job market. But I think building good rapport with people that you're working with, and at the same time being curious, and ability to kind of contribute in whatever way possible, kind of helps you, set apart from what others are trying to do.
Yeah, I see. I think that is solid gold. I have a theory that the kids that are coming out with bachelor's degrees in either data science or computer science who are having trouble finding jobs is because they're trying to get on with a big company like Amazon and a team of other 10,000 other data analysts. But if they were to go to businesses that are trying to navigate the AI changes that are going on right now and say, like, what are the business problems you're trying to solve and how can
Yeah.
my skill set help you do that, that they would be opened with welcomed with open arms.
No, absolutely. And I think that I just remember that in the career fair, right, where one of my managers was actually recruiting, I got into a very long and healthy conversation with him in that career fair, where I was discussing what problems that they were solving, uh, what were the kind of what's the exciting work that's happening over there, right? Which would excite me instead of just pitching myself on how good I am. I was actually a lot more curious onto what they were doing, and then on that basis, I was able to kind of align my interests as well and express my interests after understanding what are their requirements first, right? So I think a lot of candidates, if they speak about the kind of exciting stuff that they will get to work on if they join, I think that really also excites the managers that are willing to hire them.
That's incredible advice. All right, so how long did you stay with the bank, and then what happened next?
Sure. So I, interned for about 3 months, after which I got a full-time offer, and I spent around a year and a half uh, in the bank. My key intent was to, recover a lot of amount that I'd spent while studying and staying in the United States. As you know, New York City is very expensive, but I think that was the key intent. And after that, also, I got very inspired by Steve Jobs with him introducing the iPhone, and the kind of the how the world changed on that. Uh, after iPhone launched, and at the same time, I think a lot of startups at that point of time were building social media platforms. So I was back in Facebook's office for some interviews as well, where I happened to interview with one of the first few founders in their team, right, back in 2007. But that got me very excited about the process and building social networks. So, in fact, even at UBS, I built an internal social network for the traders to speak with each other, or it was like an internal Twitter that I created as a side project for traders to.
Slack. Slack before there was Slack.
Exactly, exactly. So I think it was, something that traders can exchange ideas with each other and express their thoughts. So I think that was something which was pretty exciting at that point of time. This is back in 2011, where social networks are a little more, novel at that point of time. And uh, after that, and I was able to save some money, and I would not recommend this to a lot of you know students, or people who are working to, and they're looking to start up. I uh, kind of quit my job without having a very concrete business plan in place. uh, uh, I'm a more emotional person versus practical person, and kind of sometimes that helps me to take some crazy risks. And
Sink or
when I
swim,
was
right? You put yourself in a position where you were either going to survive or you weren't. I think
Yeah,
that's admirable.
absolutely. So I think it was a very difficult decision, to be honest. The kind of work exposure that I was getting, the kind of places that I was living, I was able to kind of, uh, able to buy anything, almost anything that would want to, right? But I think something was missing, where I was kind of feeling that I am, kind of just one of the cogs in a big wheel or a big machine, right?
Mhm.
Versus trying to impact, trying to create a major impact in a specific way. And I was really, really excited about a lot of possibilities on what tech could bring, especially with mobility coming into play and social networks where people were able to exchange thoughts, ideas around that, and and that kind of helped me take that decision. And at the same time, I started building a product in social media networking space. So my first idea, it may sound a little dumb, which most of the first ideas of entrepreneurs are, was to build something like Twitter, but for future events. So my idea or the hypothesis was that a lot of people are just talking about what they're doing right now and they're tweeting about what they're doing right now. There's no way where you can kind of express on what are you planning to do or what you want to do. And so I was trying to build that product. Now, being an engineer, I started building the product without speaking with a lot of users, without validating my ideas. And I built the product for six
All the
months.
designers out there are laughing right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, go
And
ahead, man. Sorry.
yeah, absolutely. And I kind of built this product. I think it was a pretty kick-ass product. I created, you know, being a first-time entrepreneur, I wanted everything what Twitter had, plus a lot of other features. I also created an API before there was any data in it, so that my system is something that can be integrated into, other websites. So that was pretty dumb of me without kind of building a lot of features without validating with the users. I think was one of the key problems that I think I uh, ran into that. And after 6 months of real hard work, uh, I launched the product to a few of my you know close friends and family. Before that, I was under the impression that, oh, I should not share this idea. It's a very unique idea. I should not be sharing this idea with anyone in the world. But I think that's a pretty dumb thing to do. If you have a startup idea, speak with as many people as possible. Try to validate it. Try to see what their thoughts are. Because if you are really good at something, idea is obviously very important. But at the same time, what will matter more is execution, right? So if you are able to out execute anyone in whatever you are planning to build, I think that is something that you should definitely look at. Uh, so, so I think I did not validate my idea, and I invited a few people to my platform. And in social media, there is a phenomena called ghost town effect, where when there is no content on
Mhm.
social media, other people wouldn't post anything, and it'll look pretty empty. So I think that is something that yeah, I'm sorry, I got
That's
a
okay.
call. But so I think I ran into that specific issue at one point of time, but kind of it helped me learn a lot about how products should be built. We should speak to users first, sell the idea, the vision, whatever you're building, whether it is B2C, B2B. I think that is the key thing that you should be doing before you start building the product, even writing first line of code to build a product, right? And
Do you feel like
so
deep research tools now make that a little bit less, like a little bit more possible without actually bringing
yeah,
people into the office and sitting them down and doing discovery conversation? Well, those are still important, right? But that takes a lot of bandwidth. It is kind of cool that I can go into a Perplexity or a Chat GPT deep research and say, hey, here's my idea. Find me product market fit. What are people
right,
saying? Who are my competitors?
absolutely. I think right now, whoever is starting up, they're blessed with a ton of information. And one of the pretty cool prompts that that I really like is help me think like Elon Musk or help me think like Steve Jobs, right? And I'm trying to solve this problem. What would you do if you were Elon Musk, or what would you do if you were Steve Jobs? Right? I think it's a phenomenal tool that kind of helps you think like successful entrepreneurs as well,
I'm going to
right?
throw a curveball at you on that one. Do other people do other people like working with you?
Do other people like working with me?
Yeah, does your team enjoy do they find you enjoyable? If I was to come in there and say, "Hey, what's it like to work with Nirav?" Would they say he's pleasant or man, he's a bear to work for?
So currently, I have a team of around 40 people, right? And
Yep.
um, so one of the things that I've been, myself when I was growing up. I have two younger siblings, right? And I always treat my colleagues or people that I hire like my younger brother or sister, and so they always treat me like an elder brother. So they call me like a big brother, which is bhai, or it is called bhai in India, but they they're pretty frank with me, sometimes even more friendly as what they should be. But I kind of like that. I'm more of a guy that would be more friendly with people that I work with, rather than uh, you know being very bossy with them. But at the same time, I think uh, you know uh, it'll be great if you can ask some of the people that work with me. But I think I
Well, the reason
am.
I asked Nirav, and I don't ever lose that, because the two guys you mentioned are geniuses that everyone in the world would tell you are complete assholes to work with. Steve Jobs was notoriously, people were on pins and needles every time they were around him, weren't sure if they were
Yeah.
going to get fired. Elon shoots off his mouth and says whatever he feels to whomever, and that translates down to his employees as well. So I just wanted to say, yes, it's awesome that you like to duplicate their ambition, but keep that big brother. What was the Indian word you said for it?
It's called Bhai, Bhai, right?
Bye. So keep that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Where I've seen a lot of interviews about Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and a lot of other entrepreneurs, but I think uh, it's a lot of difference about personality. I think at the same time, Sir Richard Branson, I think he's an amazing personality to work with. Right, Sir Ratan Tata from India. I think people, they worship
Satya
worship
Nadella.
him. Yeah, Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, and the list goes on and on. And I think there's some phenomenal people to work with as well. But I
And I
think the
think
kind
that
of
ties
ambition,
back to what you were saying about getting the job with that bank, right? Is that how you
yeah,
present yourself and having, to me, like it used to be if you had really good engineering skills, and I don't care if you're talking about software engineering or
yeah,
mechanical engineering, right? Like it was kind of a given that you were maybe not
yeah,
as social and maybe not as easy to talk to in a world where AI can do a lot of entry level software jobs or
exactly,
data SQL writing. Like you have to develop a personality where you can talk to people, where
yeah,
you can look them in the eye, and you can say, again, be curious, like you said, rather than worrying
yeah,
about selling yourself, which I think for students is actually an easier thing to say. Say, okay, you don't have to go and like beat your chest and say, hey, look at all I did. Go to my GitHub profile. You can go and say, what? Be curious about what they're excited about. I loved hearing you say that. Be curious about
yeah,
what they were doing, and I want to. Can I ask you a couple more questions about your career path from a scope that I've
sure,
always wanted to ask somebody who's been through this?
yeah, absolutely.
When the tension is all you need paper hit, what were you doing career wise, and how big of a deal was it?
Uh, so uh, can you repeat the question? Means
2017, the paper that
y-
brought neural networks and transformers to the world. Attention
right.
is all you need.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Makes sense. No,
What
I think
was AI, like neural network stuff, like a pseudoscience really before that? Did people look at it like it
yeah.
was kind of a crazy idea? Was it even on your radar as you were in the whole social media realm and doing a startup? Or did things shift then, or was it the Chat GPT moment that really shifted things more?
Sure. So I think I have a slightly different journey down the line, right? When I came back to India, and I had like a crazy startup dream, right? But sometimes, the reality kicks in, and there were some, family, personal health issues for my father in the family. And they were, kind of running a business which is more like a traditional business into textiles, right? And my uncle was all alone, and my younger brother was too young to join the family business. And my father, he kind of suffered multiple strokes, and he had to undergo a lot of surgeries, and he was kind of bedridden for almost 4 years. And I had to support my uncle in the traditional business for some time, right from 2013 till 2017, uh, where in a way, I think I was a little drifted away from my technology dream, but at the same time, it made me learn a lot about business. Right, it was like an MBA on steroids,
Yeah.
where you are actually working in a real traditional business, and you are learning about sales. You're like learning about marketing, accounts, payments, collections, right, and a lot of
Bookkeeping, all that fun stuff.
yeah. So I think, and they don't typically teach you in engineering school, and most of the schools, what are real, by being a part in one of the real businesses, would teach you. So I kind of learned a lot over there. But then, my brother joined in the family business, and it was like a career break for me, like a good 4 years career break, and it was very difficult for me to kind of even think of going back to technology. I was like, no, the world has moved forward 4 years. Now, what can I do? Right. Though I was doing some independent consulting and tweaking, stuff here and there, but I was not hands on. Right. But I think I was very low on confidence. And that point of time, one of my friends, he told me, are you crazy? You must be crazy that if you don't have confidence, I have, more confidence in you than I have in myself. So those were, some of the words by one of my friends, which kind of helped me kind of get back on track and take the plunge back in technology. And that's when I think I started working on very cool stuff, which was, I think Alexa had launched around that time, right? And a lot of chatbots were also functioning, like text-based chatbots and WhatsApp, right? So that's what kind of got me excited back in AI, especially Alexa. I started building a lot of skills. One of the skills that I created on Alexa was a top-rated paid skill. In Alexa, it was called Quiz of the Day, where and it had like thousands of users uh, playing that game, and it still kind of brings me some revenue every month. So it was a pretty cool experience to launch a game on Alexa, and how it was kind of my first exposure to AI in a way, and start building a lot of chatbots, and I think that's where my AI journey started, in building chatbots a lot, and especially when the papers were getting published. I think it was so exciting for me to kind of get back into uh, the AI world and the tech world, and start working on very cool stuff back. And I was able to contribute in building chatbots for a lot of businesses which have more than millions of users and queries. And then I kind of uh, my current co-founder, Sailesh, we both joined hands together in 2021,
A
and
year
he
before
also
ChatGPT launched. See,
exactly.
I think that people out there who aren't in technology think that the AI boom started in 2022 when ChatGPT launched, but really it started more like 2017 when they started to realize
Absolutely.
the transformers, if you threw enough inference and power at them, that they could do some really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And so you guys were 5 years into like super excitement before the rest of the world was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good place to be at. Sometimes being uh, uh, at the right place at the right time really helps, is what I think. And sometimes when an industry is coming up, riding the wave makes a lot of sense as well, from a business perspective, where it will automatically help you grow, much faster than what you would otherwise. So I think it was one of the most exciting times to start something. And we started working on various ideas. Again, I did not want to repeat any mistake. I started speaking with a lot of people on one of the prospects that I had, right? And we had this crazy idea at that point of time. A lot of talks were also going about Web3 and blockchain, and how Web3 powered platforms are going to be the future. But I was like, okay, let me validate this. I've done this before. I don't want to start writing code this time. Let me validate this idea. Then I started pitching that, okay, we are building a Web3 powered platform to connect remote workers to people who are looking to hire them, that are thoroughly vetted, etc. And you will get tokens if you kind of hire talent, and talents would earn tokens, etc. And a lot of people that I spoke with, okay, leave the Web3 stuff aside. I really don't care.
Hmm.
Just help me, find really good talent. Okay, that's what I really care for, and that's what I'm looking for right now. And at that point of time during COVID, the demand for remote workers was just through the roof, right? And we started, building a platform that would vet talent, uh, and vet engineers. Have been, helping very senior engineers uh, from a lot of remote areas to get connected with various companies in blockchain and AI space. And that's when we started working. And that's when ChatGPT also launched. And we started, building this platform after validating the ideas. And I think in the first year itself, we were able to connect more than kind of 100 folks to various companies that they actually started working in. Uh, we had a very transparent pricing model where we would earn a percentage of every all the revenue that comes through the talent, where know for talents it was crazy, right? Their earnings kind of grew almost 2 to 3x of what they were earning. And for clients, the costs reduced by almost 50% because of remote hiring, right? So it was creating a great win-win situation on both sides. And that's
Solving a
when
business problem that hadn't left you.
yeah, exactly. So I think that is something that we started with, and at that point of time, ChatGPT launched, and Sailesh and I decided that okay, we should not miss this. This is one of the
Yeah.
coolest thing that has happened since 1980s, where the first personal computer had launched. Right. So I think we are going through the same phase here, where it's personal AI is what I think it's AI is being personalized right now, where initially, just like computers were available to very large organizations, AI was something that only large organizations used, right? But now AI is almost democratized. Anyone can use it. And I think it's incredible power that everyone has now. So that was something which was deeply exciting to me on kind of, shaping the next decade with AI. And that's when we started building our own team of AI engineers, started automating a lot of stuff that we were doing manually ourselves using OpenAI, like building sales automation, marketing automation. And we have created all these AI agents, cool AI agents that can do customer support and sales agents and marketing agents on, uh, you know, um, and started building them for a lot of companies, again, who are based in the US mainly. And I think it's very exciting the way things are, shaping up.
Yeah, and I want to talk about adoption. I do want to say for our audience, because we have a very lay audience, a lot of it's educators. Like what you're talking about doing is through the OpenAI API, and it's using tools like N8N. So we are getting Claude Code seems to make it look like now that we are getting to the point where lay people may be able to do all that themselves at some point in time, but we're still really, if you want to automate something inside of a business successfully, you really need to reach out to a consulting agency like your own and let them help you build that, because a lot of things can go wrong, from context engineering to data drift to the fact that these are not deterministic models or predictable models. So all of that kind of has to be taken in. But let's talk about the full landscape now. And so I would like to know, from what I follow Jeff Townsend. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a technology guy that focuses on China. He's an American guy that I
Yeah.
think probably lives in Taiwan, focuses on China. And so I hear a lot about how India it leverages the China stack a lot. Alibaba is pretty big there, right? I think Alibaba even has roots in India as well. So you guys use the big digital platforms and Alipay. And so what is the technology? What does the AI LLM landscape look like in India right now? Are people using ChatGPT? Are they using Quinn, DeepSeek? Is it a mix?
Yeah, sure. No, I think right now in India, I would say ChatGPT is something which a lot of people started using, right? But India is a big Android market where,
Okay.
Google Gemini is now, something that is out of the box in most of the phones. So people have started
Okay.
using that organically, along with, you know, and a lot of, users, they kind of started using uh, Perplexity as well, where
Mhm.
I think that was one of the campaigns that I think maybe Perplexity team really pulled off really well. Is in India, I think I've seen a lot of people started using Perplexity for research, and I think one of the best things that uh, AI has done, or Gemini has done, it's multilingual, right? India has
Yeah.
uh, m- multiple languages, and my mom, for instance, she cannot converse very fluently in English, but she's able to converse in Gujarati with a lot of AI, extract information, watch YouTube videos, learn about various recipes, or uh, stuff that she's interested in with its help, right? So I think so there are two ways, where I see where one is how AI is kind of democratizing technology to everyone, like
Mhm.
the technology barrier is no longer there, right? And second is a lot of young kids that I see in India are picking up AI. They are I one of my friends, a son, he built an entire website and social media automation. And he's a big football soccer a fan, right? So he created the entire fan portal, and uh, and social media automation, and got crazy hits on his website, and he's just 12-year old, right? So
Yes.
uh, I think with a lot of no code tools, all that is happening, where a lot of parents in India are enrolling their kids in AI courses right now, right from the age of 8, 9, or 12. And
Wow.
they're, yeah, kind of, helping getting them into robotics and AI, because I think that is what they also realize, that this is the future on, how things are going to work for the next at least, 10, 20, 30 years. Uh,
Can I
and
throw a
I
little
think,
theory out there for you,
sure.
and just to get your feelings? So, I think a lot of parents in America,
Mhm.
like, we have a book called The Anxious Generation. Like, we didn't really pay attention to what social media was going to do to kids, and we wish we
Yeah,
would have. And so now we have all these kids that are like hooked on TikTok and spend all day in bed and don't go out and socialize. And they're either gamers, which some of them do go on to become like computer science engineers or whatnot, but they don't really get much socialization, or they just are kids that are stressed out because they see how beautiful people are on Instagram and TikTok, and they think they can be an influence. All right. But I think that, so now we're approaching AI and we're overly cautious about introducing it to young people. I feel like
right.
AI is an opportunity to reverse the curse, because I think if the difference between looking at Asia as a whole, India, China, Japan, Korea, their youth, right? I think they are more apt to use technology as builders, and Americans are more apt to use it as consumers. How can it entertain me? How can I just sit in front of it? And we need to shift that mindset in America to, hey, this thing is not here for you to just doom scroll through all day long. This thing is
Right.
here that you look at what you could build, right? You could build a fan base for your favorite football team. And
Right.
so I really applaud Indian parents who are pushing their kids into learning this stuff and learning it around robotics, around website design, around creation.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that is a great trend, and I think not just America, but I think parents all around the world should definitely help their kids become creators versus consumers, right? Or builders versus consumers, right? And uh, I think that is one of the biggest skill set that you can give your child, uh, because eventually, even if they are not going to be programming, in their life, but they're going to be using a lot of AI systems to build stuff, even in their workspace. If they are going to start their own business, or they are going to work somewhere, it's just like introducing them to computers back in 1980s. If you are able to if you are able to kind of expose them to AI right now, and the way how it can kind of transform any work that they are doing, whether uh, it is building an app for their hobbies, right? It is something which is completely possible. And I think uh, as a parent myself, I have a couple of kids. One is 4-year old and the other is 9, and that's what kind of excites me to kind of have them uh, enroll in, especially the elder one right now, to enroll her in robotics and AI, and she's pretty excited about it as well. And it's pretty cool stuff.
It is cool. I want to echo that even in my own life. So once ChatGPT came out, I've always been in digital marketing, content creation. I mean, I wouldn't have a podcast via video if it wasn't for Riverside and the fact that it auto generates clips and makes so for the last 3 years, it was really about amplifying what I could do and being able to capture my own
Exactly.
voice and just do, but this year I said, okay, this stuff is good enough now that even as a
Yeah,
layperson, I need to bridge the gap between a creator and a developer. I need to start actually
exactly.
developing some things. And the fact that it can take somebody like me who has always been strong in language, history, philosophy, sociology, but horrible at math, struggle with statistics, anything like that. And it can level you up to the point where all that stuff is not only possible, but you also
Yeah,
have like this co-pilot tutor that you can say, hey, look, explain this to me like I'm a sixth grader who
yeah,
doesn't get it. And with infinite patience, it will do so.
absolutely. And I think you are exactly right about how AI can cover your weaker areas,
Yeah.
and it can kind of help you. For example, marketing and sales was always my weakness. Being an engineer, you know not I'm not a very extrovert guy, but at the same time, kind of, you know, helping AI to kind of form marketing strategies, form sales proposals, form a lot of SOPs around how to automate marketing and automate sales. I think that is one of the biggest challenges or the roadblocks that I face mentally first, and then and executing that as well. But I think AI has, like, it is helping you to cover a lot of stuff which you're not very comfortable with yourself. I think AI is helping me to cover a lot of that stuff, even slightest, even kind of, right now, as I'm scaling team, I'm kind of learning a lot of management using AI. Okay, this is a problem that I'm facing. What should be the solution? And sometimes AI is just able to kind of give me some amazing ideas that after I implement it, it is, you know, doing wonders for me.
Yeah. And let's reverse engineer that a little bit because it's
Yeah.
funny. Somebody like me who's in marketing, like the first thing that I learned to do with AI was something I'm good at because I feel like if
Yeah.
you're good at it, it amplifies it. If you're
Yeah.
not 100% good at it, right, it can level you up to a certain level.
True.
But let's reverse engineer. So what should we be teaching kids now that we have this like democratizing technology? Should they still be kind of focused on what their passions are? I mean, do you go with kind of the ikigai model of what are you passionate about? What does the world need? And what are people willing to pay for? Should that be the curriculum and starting in sixth grade? Do we teach them design thinking, critical thinking skills, philosophy and ethics? Or is that going to be more important in schools? Like, what do you feel like
Yeah.
your kids should be learning in elementary school in the age of AI?
Uh, no, I think that's a great question, by the way. And I think every kid has its own speciality. My elder one, she is very studious. She loves math and she loves robotics and AI. But my younger one is completely into sports and, very high energy guy. He doesn't like to sit in front of computers. And so I have, two different kids in my own home right now that are having very two different personalities. And I think uh, both of them, if they are given the right path, they will thrive in their own natural way. And they will be able to, even if they are very good at speaking, they might be one of the best debaters or journalists, etc. Right? Going down the line, you may never know. They can be really good lawyers or doctors or, even artists for that matter. But I think one of the key skills that should be taught in the age of AI is how to use AI for what you love to do, right? Uh, and that can definitely amplify their hobbies or their interests. For example, if my daughter, she loves art, right? I showed her, how we can use AI to create art, and using multiple tools, how to create
Yeah.
images, videos, etc. by Mid Journey, and she was fascinated by it. And And at the same time, my younger one, I think he's a lot into building blocks himself. So he's kind of just getting a hang of robotics in a very high level. But again, he's more interested in sports. So he's too young to be able to kind of coach him in anything which is a lot of tech. But I think one of the things that he is able to work with is very basic Lego and robotics combined, where uh, there are, it's funny that you mentioned that. And one of my friends, kid, they're into robotics, and they, do that. They are into one of, he just represented India in one of the national level competitions or international competition for building robotics using Lego, right? And I didn't know that such a thing would exist at all, right? Where such competitions exist. And again, he's just 10-year old, and he went to an international country and represented, and they built some amazing ideas using Lego and robotics together. And I think it's just mind blowing the way, and he keeps on building
Dude,
cool stuff, right?
that might be the Demesis Abbas of the future, right? Like all your
Yeah,
Demesis Abbases of the past were chess champions when they were like 9 years old. The Demesis Abbases of the future might be Lego robotics champions in this day and
absolutely.
age. You may have just set a new trend.
No, absolutely. I think with a lot of stuff that is coming up with Tesla and autonomous cars, and how, in one way, how robots are kind of going to be uh, working with humans 10 years down the line, right? It's going to be inevitable. And
Yet
I think getting your hands dirty with it right now, it's a great idea.
So, do you think robotics is going to have its Chat GPT moment in the next 3 to 5 years, where it kind of where they kind of get these systems all linked up and they start learning in the real world, and they to my understanding, again, I'm a real layperson, right? What we're really trying to do is on one side we need to create world models that so that we can train these things without having them walking around in a big facility doing stuff, and then the other side is actually deploying some of them so that they can be kind of part of a hive mind that then the same way Elon's trying to do with his cars, like they can each learn from the whole day experience of every other one of them. So if you had 100,000 Optimus robots doing 100,000
Yeah,
different things, at the end of the night, each one of them, when they rebooted, the mastermind would know how to do all those things. And the next day when they'd all wake up 100,000 times smarter, like is that, and then that just kind of multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. How far away do you think we are from that?
I think with people like Elon Musk in the race, he's quite unpredictable with what he comes up every now and then. So my guesstimate would be 5 years from now, but I'm sure he might be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat much sooner than that as well. So
I think that's fair, and I think Google is doing a lot. I mean, I
yeah,
do think, I just heard somebody predict the other day. Somebody, I don't remember who it was, but it was one of the people who's gotten a lot of things right over the years. That XAI and Google will be the two champions in the end because Elon has so many resources and is so bright, and Google just seems to have. I mean, if you just look at the DeepMind staff, I think there's 3,000 people, and that's one division inside Google. So whereas
absolutely.
ChatGPT is creating a customer experience, and don't count out Anthropic. I really do feel
Yeah,
like Anthropic, they've now released something that I haven't gotten to play with yet, but it's essentially Claude code for non-tech
yeah,
people to be able to
yeah,
automate their work. But I also got on a call with Anthropic to look at leveraging in our healthcare, and it's not yet HIPAA compliant. Neither is ChatGPT. Now they're launching their little health things, so they may be,
yeah,
but that's a big barrier right there for companies.
yeah,
I know Anthropic has kind of captured fintech, so they have moved into where they have some great tools for fintech. Once they
yeah.
make the same available in healthcare, like that, it does beg to differ. I guess this is what I'll throw at you. Until we have kids, your kids' age, who are raised with a robot in their house that's kind of a synthetic human being, right? That whole generation may be comfortable with robots in general, but everybody who comes before them is always going to want humans in healthcare They're going to want humans in law enforcement. They're going to want humans. There are places where humans are always going to have a job. But there are
Yeah.
also a lot of jobs that are going to get, I wouldn't say the whole workforce automated away, but they're going to get distilled down to a much smaller team leveraging AI tools to do the same amount of work that a huge team did. So we've gotten through K through 12, right? We've been introduced to AI. Now, what do we tell our high school graduating kids that are going on? Do they go to university and focus on computer science and data analytics? Do they just start getting certificates and get out in the workforce? Do they go the entrepreneur route? Like what would you recommend to those kids?
So I think one of the biggest learnings that I've seen, is that I've seen some dropouts succeed as well, and I've seen a lot of smart people build something as well. Really cool. But I think getting a degree at a good university will definitely help in not only just learning about the topic, but also kind of build that social network around you of
Yeah.
real people uh, or ambitious people who you surround yourself. So it's you become like you become more like them. That's what happened to me, where I was put in a room with a lot of ambitious guys, and that's what kind of helped me raise my ambitions, my overall vision on what I want to do, the difference I want to make. I think that really helps when you are working with a lot of cool people in an environment. So I think that was one of the biggest takeaways that I had from a university education perspective. But at the same time, there is no specific path to succeed. There are multiple paths to succeed, right? It all depends on what you are good at. I've seen a lot of kids. One of my engineers in India, he has taken a remote course on AI from you know um, a university in Texas, right? And without worrying about a lot of H-1B visas and jobs, and probably at 1/10 the cost of what he would otherwise pay. And at the same time, he is really enjoying and implementing the same at work right now, right? So that was not possible 20 years or 15 years back, where a lot of remote learning is now possible. One of the, I think, one of the biggest uh, 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 tools, or I would say superpowers, that I have encountered myself is Udemy, where there are a lot of short courses around various topics. So as soon as I think that, oh, I need to learn something about a specific topic, I consume 10 to 15 hours worth of content on Udemy because it's very well structured. And then if
Which
I have,
platform is that? Say that again.
it's Udemy, Udemy,
Okay, I
Udemy.
will put that in the show notes so that people can click on that.
Sure, absolutely. And it has like really good uh, courses of anything that you want to upskill on, right? And get started with. And then if you want to go deep into a specific topic, you will at least come to know what topics that you really like and get a flavor of it. And then kind of deep dive into what you really, really love. And and I think
Can I just
uh,
say,
yeah,
ChatGPT voice is great for that. So I have an hour commute either way to work, and I will do the same
right.
thing. I'll start learning about a topic either through a podcast or a video, and
Yeah,
then on the way to work, I'll be like, "Okay, Chat, explain to me what back propagation is." Like I'm a sixth grader, and so I can
yeah,
understand it. Okay, now let's take it to the next step. Like what do they mean when they're saying parameters and weights and
yeah.
like I have learned so much about how large language models actually operate just by conversing back and forth to ChatGPT. I'd be like,
Wow.
yeah, I still don't have a clue what you're talking about. So now can you use an analogy that will make sense
Yeah.
to me? And that's an amazing learning tool.
Oh,
Uh,
I think that's a great idea, and I think I'll definitely experiment with that as well. And I think it's phenomenal the way you are using it while commuting, and that's one of the best way to keep upskilling yourself, right? And I think education is something which will not stop and should not stop at any point of time. It's like a lifelong journey. I'm sure you will agree to that. So
yes.
just going to a university will not make a lot of difference from learning perspective. It will definitely add a lot of value to the people that you meet and work with, and shape your vision the way what you want to do. But at the same time, even I'm learning something new every day, still,
Yes.
right now, right? And I think that's the key to, because education is different, knowledge is different, and knowledge is the real power. Education can help you, or a degree can help you kind of build credibility, but knowledge is what something that will actually help you do, what you are looking to do.
Yeah, I would say personally, I think if you go back to like the 1990s to 2000s in the United States, when like ITT Technical Institute, DeVry, some of these a lot of certificate programs around cybersecurity and IT were really, really popular. I almost think
Yeah,
if you took that type of model and combined it with workforce development uh, partnerships, that's your university of the future. So you're learning
yeah,
skills, but you're working the whole time out in that industry, and you're not only networking with other students, but you're networking with the workforce. You're seeing, what do
yeah,
I really like doing and what do I not like. I would have told you that I would love to be a video creator until I started doing video editing, and then I was like, this is the most tedious, boring job. I never ever want to have to do this again, like, right? And so you don't know until you try it.
yeah,
At the same
exactly.
time, like image generation, Nano Banana, Chat GPT, I started creating a comic strip called Data Dummies for my
Oh, wow.
newsletter using Chat GPT. I have a blast doing that. I mean, if I can work and laugh at the same time, like that's not work, right? That
Yeah,
really is enjoy what you're doing. And so, but you don't really
exactly.
know that until you start getting out there and doing a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you're early, try experimenting with a lot of, cool stuff that you find cool as much as possible, right? That's the best place to experiment with multiple ideas, multiple areas, do multiple internships, you know, uh, see how your kind of work is actually impacting an organization. What is it like? Even sometimes, working for unpaid internships, or even, with a very small stipend, etc., is completely fine. It's just about getting a lot of exposure and experiences that will eventually help you to figure out what you want to really do, and at the same time what you are really good at and what you enjoy doing, right? And the sooner you realize and you figure out what you want to do, then and you start doing that, then its compounding effect will be just crazy.
Okay. I want to get into one last topic before we get off here, right? For the kids who are graduating, who are thinking about going entrepreneur, solopreneur, because, well, first off, I want to propose that in K through 12 and even early education, a lot of people are saying, do people need to learn to code? Do they not learn to code? Data architecture and data science to me is a more important foundational skill in the age of
Yeah,
AI. Understanding
yeah.
that is more important than understanding how to write code. Am I wrong there?
No, I think I would absolutely agree with you, because uh, uh, you know a lot of implementation will happen on understanding how it works, right? And what are the building blocks that goes into that, because eventually whatever uh, software that our kids will create with AI tools, that will solve their lives, and they'll be more efficient if they understand how they are actually built, uh, you know with a lot of understanding of what goes into uh, y- you know building a particular AI system in first place, right? Whether how data science work, what is traditional AI, ML, what is Gen AI, and what are LLMs, and then how are they used? What are tokens? How can you optimize them? And then kind of actually using it to your advantage. So
Yes.
I think that's going to be very important as well, and at the same time, I think uh, one of the key uh, things that I would probably uh, advise a lot of students, or if I would have, I'm just talking to myself like
Yep.
15-20 years down the line, is to start as early as possible. If you're looking to get into entrepreneurship, even if you're 12-year-old, nothing stops you,
I
right?
agree.
The key is to get started. uh, Warren Buffett started early. So did Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or anyone who has, it's just like, being an athlete. The sooner you start, the more experiences you get. And again, uh, one of the key skills is selling, which is
Yeah.
not generally taught
And
anywhere.
so this goes back to that whole creator consumer thing, right? And I was just having
Yeah.
this conversation. I have a 15-year-old daughter who had sometimes
Mm.
will get a million likes on 100,000 likes. Like she has a fairly
Wow.
big audience on TikTok, and I'm
Wow.
like, you need to get we need to get you getting some affiliate marketing jobs going on.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, no, I don't want to put her more on there. Like, but the thing is, look, when Bill Gates and these guys like when their generation they
Yeah.
all started businesses, and maybe they were Kool-Aid stands and newspaper stands
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
lawn mowing, and then fixing people's
Yeah.
lawnmowers, and then they figured out how to
Yeah.
code, and they were fixing people's computer. That's not
Yeah.
how the world works much today. So
Yeah.
if you can spend time on TikTok as a to me
Create.
as an
Yeah.
affiliate marketer instead of somebody who's
Right.
just watching TikToks and dancing
Yeah.
in front of the camera, like you're starting to build the skills of the future because we're already seeing
Absolutely.
Amazon and all these things going to agentic AI and digital say like you have to start to figure out how to navigate AEO
Yeah.
and GEO and all that. I 100% agree with you, and I'm sorry parents, but some of that may have to happen online. That doesn't mean you can't still set
Yeah.
healthy boundaries and help them
Yeah.
learn business skills and how to turn that off and how to not be overly influenced by the comments and things like that. But let's shift this conversation to the world they live in instead of trying to keep them stuck in the world we grew up in.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thought, Jason, and I completely agree with you on that.
Well, thank you. Okay. The last thing I wanted to ask you, real quick, you got just a couple more minutes?
Of course, please.
Okay, you're a young undergrad in the United States and you're thinking about going and doing your own thing and leveraging AI. Are you looking at open source models? Are you looking at Chinese models? Because what we hear here is, I even have a friend that's retired from the CIA that tells me that Huawei is one of the dirtiest companies in the world. So that's the narrative that we're hearing over here, right? So are you paying the extra money to leverage Claude and these foundation models? Are you using open source to build your own stuff? If so, are you just using Meta's half-assed Llama models that aren't very, or are you leveraging the state of the art that's coming out of China? Like, what does that look like? And how do you make sure that you maintain safety, navigate whatever regulations are about to come down the pipe? Not many during the
Yeah.
Trump administration, although they may state by state, but like, how do you navigate that as a young entrepreneur?
No, absolutely. Uh, I think again, it comes to experimentation, right? Just like how in 1990s there were multiple operating systems, whether it was Windows or Unix and Linux, right? Some of them were open source, some of them were closed source, and then there was Mac OS, and a lot of stuff that people kind of uh, sided with. I think and kind of building something on an open source LLM, even if it's if you're in the US, you can still start experimenting with Llama, which is by Meta, right? You don't really need to kind of break any laws, or get worried about any data privacy issues or any other thing by using something which is more homegrown. And I would probably but at the same time uh, I think technology is going to be very immersive, and at the same time uh, you know I think eventually all the models are going to just keep on getting better and better and better, even if they are open source. And I think they're in a race, and which is in a way a good thing for us.
Yeah.
So working with any open source model to get your hands dirty with, and have something to see it firsthand, and not just using OpenAI keys or Claude or anything, right? Just tinkering with a lot of cool stuff that is available for free out there will kind of just give you a lot more exposure to what the possibilities are, right? And again, help you to understand what are the building blocks behind what you're using in production environment. Yeah.
I think that's amazing advice. So what I hear you saying is that the leveraging open source for someone is more about learning how to leverage the tools. So don't sacrifice comfort or security for optimized models if they're coming out of somewhere that you're not 100% sure are safe. Just get your hands dirty with what is available that you're comfortable with and start to learn how to
Yeah.
leverage these tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think most of the code is open source. And if you're working with a lot of open source code that is pretty famous, uh, then I think you are in safe hands. Uh, but uh, but yeah, but I think that's my 2 cents.
This
But
is
at the
too
same time,
technical of a discussion for our audience, but open source doesn't always mean open source in the United States, though, right? So it's not always open weights, and you're not always have access to their training material. Like, so you do have to kind of look for those truly open source models that you can actually do something
yeah,
with, which I do
yeah,
believe the Llama models are. But not everyone that says they have an open source model, OpenAI's OSS, I don't think you have access to tweak the weights. But all right. Here's my final question for you. It's going to be a weird one. Are you ready for that? Are you a movie fan?
oh yes, I am.
Have you seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the classic '80s movie about high school in California with Jeff Spicoli and
I vaguely remember seeing it. Vaguely remember watching it, but I don't recall it a lot.
Okay. All my thumbnails are now based on a movie of the month. And the movie for this month is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Next month
Oh,
it said
wonderful.
Poet Society. Then I've got, like, I'm going back to all these old classics. So I was going to ask you if you had a favorite Fast Times at Ridgemont High scene, but I'll have to pick the scene for us. But I hope I have your permission to use ChatGPT and Nano Banana to put you into a fun hero image for this episode.
Absolutely, absolutely. Would love to, and
Thank you, Nirav.
love to see my uh, avatar in that form. Yeah.
This has been a great conversation. Any final words for AI enthusiasts out there?
No, it has. I think it has been an amazing conversation. Thank you, Jason, again for having me on this show, and really grateful for you to giving me this opportunity and to speak with your audience. And I hope I'm useful in any way. I think one of the messages that I would like to give to the audience who are AI enthusiasts is that right now I think it is one of the best times to be an AI enthusiast. You are in 1980s where Steve Jobs and Wozniaks are tinkering something in their garages. So as there's something pretty big coming up your way. So just keep at it, keep tinkering, keep learning, keep selling, keep building stuff, right? And I think a lot of things will just happen out of serendipity, because this is a wave that is going to last for at least a decade. And if you're early in the wave, I think you will be able to kind of be much ahead of what others are going to be.
Dude, you just gave me goosebumps. I couldn't agree more. It is an exciting time to be alive. Thank you for
Sure.
joining me. You and I will stay in touch.
Absolutely, Jason. Thank you so much for having me on this show.